Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Wait, Are These Guys Friends? I am Mike, and I am here with Randy. And Randy, are you ready to talk 1991, but also how are you?
I'm doing wonderfully. Should we explain why we're going to talk 91?
Oh, I was going to try to get through some playful chit-chat and banter. I have a real bad
Nah.
habit lately of just steamrolling me talking to you as a person and just wanting
Oh,
to get right to the bullshit. And that's me. That's
I don't
my
know. I
bad.
felt like we started talking about that last week and then you cut it all out of the podcast. So let's let's
Well,
just
yeah,
get to it. I'm going to save you some editing time.
one, that is true. But I would like to throw two retorts back at that.
Mm,
One, I don't see you in person, so I
yeah.
actually do enjoy just catching up with you. And if it
Fair.
happens to be on the air, cool. And if it's not, whatever. I enjoy chatting with you regardless of that. Second, you tell me right now that you needed to leave in the 8 minutes we talked about your son's youth lacrosse team. Tell me right now.
I thought it was relevant information for sure. So it's no, I thought about it after the fact. It was just like, man, I just kind of went on and on about that, didn't I?
I was so happy to catch up, but it was 8 minutes to start the show about youth lacrosse.
Trying to personalize this, Mike. Come on.
All right, let's get into why we're talking 1991 today.
Let's do so.
We both said last week, hey, we need to see The Naked Gun so we could talk about it. Did you see The Naked Gun?
Nope.
Hey, neither did I. But then we thought, well, what if we talked about the original Naked Gun? And we haven't done one of these not top 10s in a while where we look at 11 through 20 on movies and TV. It's a fun format, and it's not we haven't done it in a hot minute, so it feels fun to do again.
Sure.
Oh, hey, where was The Naked Gun? And The Naked Gun was in the top 10. So can't do 11 through 20. But that's okay, because no, that wasn't why. That was not accurate, was it?
I think the initial Naked Gun, we had already covered a whole bunch of the movies that were in it through other episodes. And then actually Naked Gun 2.5, which is in 91, was actually in the top 10.
In the top 10. See, it's been a week since we had that. And I just know that there was a whole thing. But then we looked at 1991 and thought, oh, that's a really good year overall. The top 10 was banging. And then the 11 through 20 are a lot of movies I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
Right in the middle, there's kind of a chunk what we have covered before, but bookending it and surrounding it, there's a lot of new good stuff.
Sure. And I think, too, some of them, and we'll get to it, I don't remember going as in-depth to some of the fun trivia on a couple of them. There's some interesting things from a few of those movies that I don't think we touched on before.
And you know, spoiler alert to our own show. At some point in the list, we talk about Steven Spielberg's Hook with Robin Williams. It shows how much I remember things that we've done, because last night I texted you like twice, like, no, but have we talked about Hook? What I feel like I remember this trivia fact about Hook. Was that on the show, or was that just my brain knowing something? I genuinely couldn't remember. And he was like, yeah, we did, what the hell was it? Jim Carrey, Robin Williams.
Correct.
I'd forgotten that entirely until you said it. So, you know, who knows what, we could just cover it all again and it'll feel fresh and new to me.
In my recollection, I have to go back and listen to it, or you listeners can go back and listen to it. See what I did there. I don't feel like I think we kind of not breezed through it, but since we were going through a bunch of different movies and years for the actor battle, we may not have gotten that much into it on it. So there may be new stuff that we can approach.
That's fair. Also, here's the question. Was that a audio only in the archives, or were we doing video yet? I think that was an audio only, right?
Yeah, so I mean, you still put them up on YouTube, right?
Yeah, but you can't stare at our beautiful faces.
You kind of can. It's just the one slate, right?
Oh, yeah. Although, no, I think I changed the show logo at that point. It should just be the text.
Oh, all right.
So
you can imagine.
Yeah, there we go. Thank God we had to figure that out. But now, a little housekeeping before we get into all this. Important to note the inflation of it all. These are going to sound like impressive numbers, and they are. But if you want the total gross in today's dollars, you have to more than double that number. I looked it up. $1 in November 1991 is the equivalent of $2.34 today. So, reminder that we are looking at the domestic box office as our list, 11 through 20, and what we say for that number, what it would have grossed today is more than double what we'll actually say.
Yeah.
So that's
like 45 mil is 100 mil today.
Exactly.
Jeez, crazy.
Exactly. But that said, let's quickly breeze through the top 10 of what we won't be talking about. Don't you even dare. Well, I'm sure we'll say a couple things.
Yeah.
But the number one movie of the year, and I know we've talked about this one, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Whew. Just my goodness.
I think even when we recapped that in our Arnold actor battle, we were just like, what can we say? This movie rules. and I think that's, again, I will say that.
Perhaps because we are not professionals, we are amateurs doing this for fun. There are a few titles out there that just go, I got nothing for you. You know what this is. But number two, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. That is the Kevin Costner one, which its legacy to me is that line in Men in Tights where he goes, well, unlike some Robin Hoods, I can speak with an English accent. And that's all I know about that movie. I don't remember anything else about it. But it did very well.
And the hit song, right? Like, wasn't Bryan Adams' Everything I Do It For You from that movie?
It was. Oh, my God. I forgot.
That was everywhere. That's the other thing I remember from that movie, just because it was in the video, I think, right? The music video?
I think so. Talking differences in ages, this will come up occasionally. Yeah. I was 8 in 1991. Yeah. How old were you?
Right. 11. So.
Okay. So, and as silly as it sounds, that 3 years does make a difference sometimes in pop culture, knowledge, memory, etc. Number three.
I was going to say, this is unfortunately a range of where Kevin Costner would do some bad accents, because he also did not do a very passable New Orleans one in JFK. And then, I don't know, was it 13 Days? Or no, not what was the one about the Cuban Missile Crisis, and he plays a bad Boston
later,
accent,
wasn't it?
But it was a bad Boston accent.
Okay,
so,
I was gonna say that was years later. That was like in the 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was more just bad accents was all the time.
Okay.
Together, so yeah,
you said he was on a stretch. Like in my mind, it was like in 1991.
Yeah.
He was like, "I'm gonna fucking go for it. Here we go. Let's do this." So that's okay. Understood. I was looking up. And believe me, this could be its own episode. But man, this is definitely in that Kevner? This is definitely in that Kevin Costner essence of like 1990 to 93, 4, where he could do no wrong. And then Waterworld was in 95, and that was all she wrote, really. It was never the same. But man, those 4 years, he was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Number 3 is Home Alone, and it's the fact that it's the number 3rd movie for 1991 when it came out in November of 1990.
Right.
It's fucking wild. Like, that is making bank. Silence of the Lambs at number 4. City Slickers 5. More Kevin Costner. Dances with Wolves at number 6. Was that also a 1991 movie, or is that a holdover movie? Yeah, Dances with Wolves is from 1990. No, it's 90. That's how big Dances with Wolves was, that it cracked the top 10 as a holdover movie.
Jeez.
Sleeping with the Enemy at number 7. The Addams Family, the excellent Raul Julia version at number 8. The Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear at number 9, which is a delight of a film, and of the 2 sequels, the superior one, although I like the third one, but vastly superior. Number 10, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, a movie that they played me on exactly how they wanted, because if I watch it now, it does not hold up, unlike the 1990 original film, which is breathtakingly good still. They dumbed it down to make a movie just for kids, and when I was 8, this was the shit. When I'm 42, it is the shits. So it's funny how that works. Meanwhile, 1990 movie, perfect.
I will say one thing: go Ninja, go Ninja, go. That's all I'll say. So. Ninja rap, let's go.
Ninja can't do the rest of the list. Gotta sing ninja rap. Go, 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 go.
Oh, Vanilla Ice.
He had his moment. Hey, he
took advantage of it.
He has in his life had more money than we will ever have. I want you to think about that.
He's also been dangled from a balcony, allegedly. So,
I mean, you don't know everything about my life.
That's fair. Suge Knight come after you too. Yeah. So
he thought I stole the hook to a song. It was fucked up. All right. Anyway, that's the top 10. Okay. Those were, when you look at a year-end list, that's probably what you're going to see. These other ones, there's some real famous, memorable shit, but they did not crack the top 10. Starting with number 11, there are 2 films on this list, and I actually think they bookend. The first one and the last one that we're going to talk about that are, in all of this, the forgotten films. The ones that are not in the pop culture zeitgeist. There is no conversation about them. Backdraft.
Yep.
$40 million budget. $78 million domestic gross. $140 million worldwide by the end of its run. What do you remember about Backdraft?
Just visually and audio incredible, and just to look into how they had to do some of it, where, you know, some of the sets they pre-burned and then they filmed them within there, like, to make this all, because remember, there's no CGI, there's no VFX, there's no computer animation at this point. This is all done through all just quite literally effects that they're doing on the sets, and with fire, which is always possibility for danger. So but it looks
so easy to control. Oh, wait.
Really, that's the point of the movie. But it's visually very, very stunning, and just, I think it's whatever the plot is, you know, just like a good dramatic plot kind of.
Listen, there's an arsonist, and it might be tied into
story.
that somebody's. There's a firefighting family. The father died, and then there's a mystery story that's basically also involving firefighters. It's really not that heavy because it is a summer blockbuster to a degree.
Yep. And it's just meant to be, I mean, it's not a disaster movie, but like kind of in that mindset, right? Just to make that. The biggest thing, honestly, I remember about this movie, there's 2 things. One is at Universal Studios Hollywood, they used to have a show where they would do the Backdraft experience.
Did you ever see it? Yeah,
I did. I went and saw it. So that was the first thing that came to my mind when I thought that. And then the second is the visual of off of one of the backdrafts when Robert De Niro gets blown back and his, like, the fence is through his shoulder, and it's just like, whoa, man. And it's just I know it's just a visual effect, but it was gnarly looking.
You know, listen, the visual effects, I think, are what made this movie its money. Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up, and they made it very clear that it was for the action and that they found the plot lacking.
Yeah.
But so I rewatched a few clips on YouTube because I know I'd seen it, but it had been years. Yeah. I straight up forgot Robert De Niro was in this movie.
Oh, really?
I know Cape Fear's coming up later in this list for us, and I thought, okay, we'll talk a little De Niro then. No, he's a fucking Backdraft. I'm just, what a year. The fire is a living thing speech from him is absolutely insane. Also, I don't have them in front of me. They're not super like entertaining, but there was a handful of them of actual firefighters being like, that speech is insane and is dangerous. Fire is not alive. You need to, like, put it, like, people being like, that's weird. Calm it down. Yeah. Don't respect the fire or whatever. Just fucking put it out. Yeah.
Get your pyro love out of here. But
Donald Sutherland is really good in this. Have you seen it recently? Did you rewatch any of it, or do you remember him?
It's been a couple years, but it was on or something, and I was just like, I haven't seen this in a little bit, and it's probably been 2 or 3 years, but, you know, in that time frame, and remember going, oh yeah, this was a good time. Like, not watching it, I was entertained watching it. You know, I wasn't doing 6 other things. I was actually, like, engaged in watching it.
It was really weird to me because watching it and seeing Donald Sutherland's performance, if I hadn't realized that Silence of the Lambs came out this same year, it would have felt like one of those movies that you make in reaction to another successful movie, because you have the scenes of hero talks to the psychopath, gets guidance, he's scary, but do they bond? Like, it's hitting those same fucking beats. Yeah. And I was like, if this movie had come out a year later, everyone would have been like, well, you're ripping off Silence of the Lambs. It just happened to be the same year.
It's the Silence of the Lambs with arson. Yeah,
and
basically.
The last thing that I would say is that I find it very odd that Kurt Russell played his own dad in a dual role for like one 40-second shot in the very beginning of the movie. But that opening is also super intense when he watches his dad just get blown to fucking high heaven in the exploding building. He sees him just get fried. And then just what genetics to grow up looking exactly like him. Just identical. It is wild. So. Also, Backdraft 2 exists. Did you realize that?
I didn't. I guess I'm not surprised. Direct-to-video?
Oh, my God, yes. But they did get back William Baldwin and Donald Sutherland. Yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
Well, you know, it was 2019. I think there was a point. No, I was going to say there's a point where Donald Sutherland would do anything, but no, this is post-Hunger Games. He's doing fine.
He's made his money, yeah.
Donald Sutherland did Backdraft 2 for the love of the game.
He's probably just at that point like, fuck it, sure, why not? Like,
I wonder how much money they drove up to his fucking house to be in Backdraft 2.
80% of our budget for Backdraft 2, Donald Sutherland.
Wow. And also, looking it up, William Baldwin is not the lead. Both he and Donald Sutherland are like, we got them for a day, it looks like.
I gotcha.
It's
Chevy
good
Chase,
for them.
Caddyshack too.
Exactly.
Yep.
We
should just make it the award that going forward.
Oh my God, we could do that. And the award, the what?
The Chevy Chase.
The Chevy Chase Award for Best Pointless Sequel Cameo. Or, no, the Chevy Chase Award for, I want to phrase it properly, because it has to invoke that you're getting a lot of money to do very little.
Most high-priced cameo
movie.
Or something.
Yeah. The Most Desperate Appearance Award. I don't know. We'll come up with it, but this award
put that one on ice. Yeah, that's one to bring back.
To this for something. We will come up with it again. But number 12, Hot Shots.
Oh yeah,
$26 million budget, $69 million domestic, $180 million worldwide total gross by the end of its run. I love this movie. As a kid, for years, this was what I would say to everyone was my absolute favorite movie ever from the age of like 8 to 10. And it's still fun. It's still good. There's a lot of adult jokes that I didn't get. I was there for the slapstick. And now I'm like, oh, this is funny.
I'd say that's the perfect way to describe it. I came back into it. I think it was pre-DVD. So, but I probably had the.
How old are you, Grandpa?
I had the tape of it. I think that I bought in high school, and was just so. I think once I was 17, 18 and started watching again, there was a lot more that I understood versus, this came out in 91. I was 11. So, I'm the same. I think I'm in the same vein. I really appreciated it, for additional stuff later, but like there was enough to make me laugh. It'd be goofy and visual stuff that was really silly. I mean, this is the same guy that co-wrote and produced Airplane and Naked Gun. So,
and it's interesting to me to look at too is, think about by the early 2000s, post-Scary Movie, which I like the original Scary Movie. I think I even like Scary Movie 2, but there became such a glut of the laziest, worst X movie, insert name movie comedy that just I detest, because the jokes were, here's the same scene but with an accent. Here's the same scene but the actor looks slightly goofy. From the movie we're parodying.
Or a different dated pop culture reference that we're going to shoehorn into this person saying it. Yeah.
Meanwhile, dialing it back to 91, it feels like in the wake of the success of the original Naked Gun, we got extra parodies and things. Yeah. But they were high quality with effort and like a care put into them, so that you were getting these things, but they just weren't as schlock, I guess, is what will come later.
I mean, I think it matters, too, that there isn't any TikTok, YouTube, any of that stuff going on here, which I think gives a much bigger outlet to spoofs and, kind of quick digestible things that are either poking fun at or parodying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it right. It just didn't sound right.
You're crushing it.
A lot of this stuff. So when these came out, there was a lot more eyes on it, and it was more kind of the standard. There wasn't as much saturation with those type of spoofs going on. I think that plays into this.
For anyone who is uninitiated, Hot Shots is basically a Top Gun parody.
Yep.
Like beat for beat, plot-wise, a parody of Top Gun. Siskel and Ebert, of course they both reviewed it. Siskel and Ebert reviewed it. Siskel liked it, gave it a thumbs up. Ebert gave it a thumbs down with I liked it, but felt like they didn't go far enough with parodying Top Gun. They thought it just got lazy, which I personally disagree with. However, Ebert did say
doesn't love slapstick unless it's Mel Brooks. That always seems to be Ebert's thing. So,
well, he did say in this year that he specifically noted he liked Naked Gun 2 more between the two films. So, good for him. And Naked Gun 2 did do better and is the better film.
Yes.
A few other points about that. So, Leslie Nielsen was offered the role of Admiral Benson that eventually went to Lloyd Bridges. And I went into a little bit of a deep dive last night because at first I thought, what the fuck are you talking about? Because when offered the role, he declined and is reported to have said to the director, Jim Abrams of Zucker, Abrams, Zucker, I think I've done enough spoof movies with you, which is interesting because he put out Naked Gun 2.5 that same year. The role was offered to Lloyd Bridges. Here's where I went to. My brain instantly thought, well, what about all those fucking awful Leslie Nielsen 90s movies, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm talking about. Your Spy Hards, you're Wrongfully Accused. Here's the thing about that. Okay, so in 1991, Leslie Nielsen puts out Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear, turns down Hot Shots, saying, I don't want to do more parodies. Okay, fine.
Right.
1991, he's also in the TV series Flesh and Blood, a dramatic role. He puts out a TV movie called Chance of a Lifetime with Betty White, where Betty White has Alzheimer's, and it's about him and her falling in love through her memory loss, and it's a drama. He does the recurring role of Lucas in the final season of The Golden Girls, who B. Arthur marries. He is the bad guy in the movie Surf Ninjas. I'm into 1993 now. He does a dramatic film called Digger. He is in an episode of Evening Shade in 1994, which we'll talk about later. It's in the top 10 TV shows of the middle 11 through 20 TV shows of the year. And then in 1994, he makes Naked Gun 3. And after that, you look at his IMDb, and after Naked Gun 3, it's nothing but shit movies you don't want to see, parodies and things. So my question is, after Naked Gun 2, was he feeling so over what his career had become parody-wise? And this is, I don't know Leslie Nielsen. I know his niece is on TikTok and posts family stories, and he seems like a lovely man. Maybe you can answer this if you see this. She won't. Do you get the impression that maybe he genuinely wanted to go back to being a dramatic actor again and be like, I have range. I want to do this again. And then that stuff just kept not hitting and not hitting. He made Naked Gun 3. It did well. And then he was just, fuck it. And then just made the worst movies for the rest of his life.
I think if someone like him is always going to continually be offered those type of roles anyway, like not the dramatic ones, the parodies and the spoofs and the deadpan comedy roles, and if it becomes just a volume game at that point, right? You just keep getting offered over and over and over again. You hit, and something's going to hit you on the right day to be like, oh yeah, that actually sounds like something fun that we haven't done yet, even if it doesn't end up being that.
Right.
Hey, what if they pitched Dracula Dead and Loving It to him as, hey, we want to do Young Frankenstein, but like a newer version of it. I mean, I'd be very intrigued in doing something like that.
Pitch. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
So, like, I mean, that comes at you, it's like, okay, maybe. And so I wonder if it's just he got so many things offered and more seemed appealing from the comedy side than from the drama. That'd be my guess.
Fair enough. Just
because he's a very accomplished and talented dramatic actor, too. So
it was just very fascinating me to read that quote, my gut reaction being bullshit, and then saying that, no, for 3 years, he just didn't do anything but drama, and I was like, oh, he tried. He really went for it. The last note I have on Hot Shots isn't about the film, unless you have anything else you want to say about the film.
I got a couple notes, but they're not necessarily. They're just notes about the film. So
let me hit one thing, and then I'll turn it over. This was chosen for the UK's 1991 Royal Film Performance.
I did see that.
However, I see a discrepancy between Wiki and IMDb trivia. IMDb trivia says this was attended by Queen Elizabeth II. However, the Wiki says no royals attended a royal film performance between 1956 with To Catch a Thief and 1994's remake of Miracle on 34th Street. Both of those were attended by the Queen. And I feel like people who update the Wiki would know when a royal is in attendance. They're dialed in on that shit. And all the movies where there was one in attendance have somebody listed. And there's legit just a 40-year period where there are no royals in attendance. So I don't feel like Queen Elizabeth actually saw Hot Shots. I could be wrong, at least not publicly in a big performance. No. But it's fascinating to think about. Randall, what do you got?
Yeah, just a couple of quick trivia-ish notes. So that Weird Al had written a theme song for this and did a demo, but it was never completed. They recorded a demo for it. And I wonder if it just that translated into Spy Hard later on. Like, that's why they brought him back for that.
And that's the best part of that movie, frankly, is the opening credits and his song.
And then you're like, well, I'm done.
The best part. It sets the bar too high for what that movie's going to
be. The other thing I noted, so Christy Swanson is in Hot Shots. Her this is part of a 4-movie run for her, which starts with Mannequin 2.
Oh.
Highway to Hell, which was a horror comedy. I don't know if you've ever heard of.
Sounds familiar.
Just very low budget 80s horror comedy. Hot Shots, and then she goes and does Buffy the Vampire Slayer next. So like it's just it's a pretty wild 4-movie run for her. Like those are in order the 4 movies she was released.
2 movies later, by the way, she's with Charlie Sheen again, and what I think is, and I don't think I'm alone in saying this, they very underrated The Chase. The Chase kicks ass. Although I don't feel like it was like it's aged better than it was like received at the time. Is it one of those? I think like The Chase kicks a lot of ass.
Well said. That's that's what I got.
Great job, Christy Swanson. You did it. Now, number 13, Beauty and the Beast. $25 million budget, $68 million domestic gross. And now I want to put a caveat on this because this also will come back for a movie we talk about later. $451 million worldwide total, but I'm assuming because it's Disney that re-releases are being counted in its current worldwide total here. Because Disney does re-releases, and 2 movies from now, 3 or 4 movies from now, we have a Disney release in the middle 20. It's a middle, and personally, I am inclined to believe it's worldwide includes all releases.
I think so, yeah. And I'm also, because I'm looking at the box office mojo here on the side, and it looks like for the one that's coming up, it does just specify the re-release, whereas Beauty and the Beast does not. So I'm going to guess you're right on that.
Okay. So Beauty and the Beast is Beauty and the Beast. I think anyone that would be listening to the show is aware of the famous Disney animated project Beauty and the Beast. We're not going to get into a lot of it. I always enjoyed it. It, trying to think of like that golden era from like the Renaissance era, I think it is, from 88 to what, like Hercules 97, like about that spot. I realize it's like the Oscar-winning all-time classic to so many people. To me, it's middle of the pack. I enjoy it. They're all good, but to me, it's middle of the pack. I have different sensibilities. That's just me personally. What about yourself?
I liked it, and I think it like you said, that starts with what, Little Mermaid, I think, was what's considered the Renaissance, and this continues to elevate it. I think it looks great. Like it's a great story. I think it's a really good. It keeps everything moving. You really hate the villain, and the music is just catchy as hell. There's only 5 minutes of this movie that doesn't have music in it, which I guess is not that uncommon for an animated movie, but like.
I never really thought about that, actually. I haven't watched it in a minute. That's fascinating.
Not necessarily songs, but just like without any accompaniment behind it and things like that. The couple notes I had about it were, this is one of only 3 times that an animated movie has been nominated for Best Picture. So Up and Toy Story 3 are the only other 2
there we go.
Instances of that. And this actually meant a little bit more then because there were only 5 Best Picture nominees when this happened. So I hadn't expanded to 10. And then the other... 2 other things. Angela Lansbury actually thought somebody else should sing Beauty and the Beast, and the directors convinced her to do one take just to say what the heck, and that's the one they kept. And I can't think of anybody else doing it. I mean, it's
directors are so shady with that shit. I love it because you hear so many stories from so many things being like, we'll do one your way. Give me one. And that's always the fucking one. It's always the fucking one. Kelsey Grammer on The Simpsons, when he did the grumble, he's like, I don't want to do this bunch. We'll do it one. We'll figure it out. Yes. And they just ran it over and over and over.
That is amazing foreshadowing to later on. And then the one other note that I had that I thought was just a fun bit of trivia. In the Chinese dub of this movie, the voice acting and singing for Beast was done by Jackie Chan. Let's go.
That's good. Man, I feel like he's such a powerhouse, action star. For us in America, we forget that overseas, not only was a star, he was the mega star, right?
Yeah.
He was the fucking guy. Like, that was a big deal. A few other notes I have. Personally, I really was convinced this would have been a top 10 film, but then I realized it was released in November 1990. So in my mind, well, it's going to be a top 10 film next year. No. So while it was the 13th highest grossing film of this year, it was the 18th highest grossing film of the next year.
Yeah.
So it had legs, and it just kept making money over such a long period. It got the worldwide gross that it did, plus re-releases, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And also, I will never, ever, Randall, you know this, I will never not take the time to make a reference to The Critic. There is a classic scene in the very first episode of The Critic where Jay recreates this scene with a beautiful actress as Beauty and King Dork, and you can tell it's the pilot because it's gorgeous and the animation would literally never look that good ever again.
Yeah.
So you can tell it's the first episode, but it's fun. It's a very spot-on parody, very entertaining.
Nice.
Anything else for Beauty and the Beast before we move on?
No, I think that's pretty much what I had.
So the next three movies are the three that I said I feel like we've talked about them.
We have, yeah.
But we can go back and forth about how much we've talked about them at length, whatever we want to get into. Maybe the one we've talked about the least, based on what we were saying earlier, is number 14, Hook. $70 million budget, $64 million domestic. Is that right? Did I write that down right? My God.
It was noted as kind of a flop when it came out.
I remembered that, but I even remember talking about that, but I was so stunned just now at my own notes. I was like, did I write that down wrong? But then made up for worldwide with a $300 worldwide total. The world wanted this and America didn't, apparently.
Right.
Which, boy.
I mean.
Oh, boy.
It's a British story,
hang
right?
on.
So...
I want to go with some topical humor here.
Oh, boy.
What's changed? Woo! I'm terrified and tired all the time.
Well, there's our YouTube clip, so there's our promo clip.
Oh, yeah. No, this is anti what YouTube would be, because YouTube would be the other way based on... I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying.
Yes. Different social media. Sorry.
Yes. We need to put out different clips that sound different for different people and just please everyone and be full of shit the entire time. That's how this works. I cannot wait to sell out. Oh my God, it's going to be great. Listen, I liked Hook, but I was also 8. But I also don't... How do I say this? Hook is not a movie I revisit. Hook is not a movie that I thought, let's watch Hook. I'd like to see Hook. I want to watch Hook. It just is out of my mind. If it happened to be on, I might channel flip, but I'd probably watch it. That's the level of where I'm at for Hook. What about yourself?
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough in it that I'm really waiting for that specific moment. Like, I think about, I know you don't like the Goonies, but like I'm making that parallel where if something comes on and I know a part is coming up in the Goonies, I'll hang out and wait to see that part. If Hook is on, there's nothing that really drives me to say, oh, I absolutely have to see this part. Maybe
Bangarang? No Bangarang?
No Bangarang. I did look at IMDb and Dante Fusco, who plays Rufio, and his little IMDb biography says most known for his voicing somebody in 2005's the Avatar, the Last Airbender, and I'm like, oh hell no, he is definitely Rufio first and foremost. Let's not get it twisted.
Bangarang is going to be on that man's tombstone. It's going to be his name, his years, Bangarang.
There's a speaker next to it with Skrillex playing. It'd be great.
That'd be fun. I was going to say, it would be, in my mind, it would be on his tombstone, printed smaller, just small, and it would be very precise, and it would be very pointed in that there would be a period after the Bangarang, because it's muted. He's not celebrating. He has passed on.
Yes. So, but I also, this was another movie I think that I had. It was one of the 20 movies we had on VHS. And
it had the big puffy case.
Yeah, and so I remember it more because I probably loved it as a kid and watched it a ton because it's what we had. And maybe that burned me out on it going forward, where I'm like, yeah, there's nothing I need to revisit. But there's a lot of stuff from it, but just because Spielberg admitted he filmed this too slow, and that contributed to some of the budget problems, and they were a lot of overblown kind of pirate scenes that got cut, and so it just is all this. There's actually some fun Bob Hoskins stuff where after one huge scene that had like 300 extras and all this other stuff that eventually got cut, when they found out, they basically kind of knew the day after shooting. So Bob Hoskins just bought beer for all the extras just because he felt so bad about it, which so good dude.
when you say that, how do I say this? When you say that it was too slow or it took too long, are you talking the physical or you're talking in the movie? Because in my mind, part of the biggest issue with this film is you have Robin Williams and he's uptight, annoyed Peter Banning for most of the movie. Like, his journey to become Peter Pan again is, honest to God, tedious. Like, you want... and
then it's kind of a switch when it happens.
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
yeah, it's
Yes,
like, all right,
it's
let's
just
have the
on.
development. So I was referring to the actual shooting schedule, and they got behind on that, but that it is appropriate.
The movie drags in that you have Robin Williams, and he's... listen, we all love Robin Williams.
Of course.
But in this movie, it's can we get to the fireworks factory?
Yeah.
Can we hurry up and get to the fucking fireworks factory?
Please. So, but yeah, I think that's about what I would say. The same thing there is that there is nothing wrong with this movie, but it is, I don't know, disappointing based on what you think it could be.
So you do realize that I was going to say, do you know? And I was like, you do realize, Randy.
Do I? Okay.
I think we talked about this when we did the Robin Williams episode, but Julia Roberts had a lot of issues with her role as Tinkerbell. That one of them was that she didn't want to be small the entire time and had to do a full, like, life-size scene, to which I say, you realize you sounded to be Tinkerbell, right? But anyway,
right.
The long and short of that being that Carrie Fisher is famously a script doctor in the 80s and 90s who would be hired to polish screenplays uncredited because they, unfortunately, I think were always uncredited because if you just have to go, yeah, Princess Leia's punch up my screenplay, some people wouldn't take it seriously, which is a shame. I think that was just the case, right?
Yeah.
So officially, she was hired to polish Tinkerbell's lines, but I want you to help me set a scene, okay? It's Carrie Fisher. I don't know if she's clean yet at this point in the 90s. If, she's drinking, I don't know. But in my mind, she's got a cigarette,
pupils dilated,
and a glass, and she's just staring at the screen, and she's frankly just messed up, and she's looking at, and she's puffing on a cig, and she just is staring dead-eyed into it, and she just goes, bang-a-rank. Type. And I'm like, yeah. You did it.
You mean the Jamaican slang for uproar? Exactly.
Is that what that is? I didn't realize.
That is what it is, yeah. So
fantastic.
I will say that at this point, because Julia Roberts being sort of temperamental during this filming is known and documented. She was going to get married to Kiefer Sutherland at this point, and that sort of fell apart, and so that was going on in her life as well. So I think that may have contributed to some of the unrest that she had and some of that, because that was definitely distracting her, I'm guessing, at that point.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're
just
absolutely
context,
right.
Context and
context is king. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So the next two movies I know we've talked about in length because we did the Bill Murray battle. We did it wasn't a battle. We just did a Bill Murray deep dive, right?
No, it was Bill Murray versus Chevy Chase, right?
Oh my God, you're right. I don't remember our own show. I know we've talked about both of these guys in depth a lot. They're kind of patron saints.
Yes.
But what
After
about
Steven
Bob?
Weber?
Yeah, we haven't talked about him. Like the early era of the show. For some reason, the first 2 months of the show.
He was our first patron saint. So.
Right. He's lost his sainthood because we just never bring him up anymore.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm sorry, Steven Weber. Although I think...
Wait, no, he's going to come back.
He is going to come back. We talk about Wings later.
Yeah.
I should have never shat on you, Steven Weber. You're the patron saint of this podcast. I
continue to be.
I have forsaken the Weber. No, verily. Wait, I went Thor Nordic instead of religious.
Close enough.
All right, cool. Anyway, number 15, What About Bob? $39 million budget, $64 million domestic. I can't find worldwide numbers for this one. I don't know if this just wasn't a worldwide hit. I looked everywhere. I could not find a worldwide total. But it made money in America. We've talked about this. I don't like this movie. For as much as I love Bill Murray, I do not like this movie. I find it annoying, grating, and some people are like, well, that's the point of his character. Blah, blah, blah. No, it's too much. It is unpleasant for me to watch this film. But I believe, as I recall, you enjoyed it.
I'm the opposite. I really think it's funny. So it's I don't know why. It hits a certain type of, funny bone in it that it's mine. So this hits the right notes for me. It doesn't for you. I think that's really what it is.
So if you want to hear more about us getting into this, go find the Bill Murray Chevy Chase actor battle episode where we talk about the 90s. As I recall that episode, there was a lot of shit in the 90s for both of them, and it's a little more negative than we normally go. And we couldn't really help it, but I do remember that now that we're getting into it. Yep. The next movie, number 16, Kindergarten Cop, $26 million budget, $61 million domestic gross, $202 million worldwide by its end. Yep. We detailed this one heavily when we did an Ivan Reitman IMDb deep dive, only talking Ivan Reitman. I believe it was shortly after his passing, or no, it was because the new Ghostbusters was coming out. He had passed about a year prior, I believe. But we both love this one. This one's fucking fantastic, perfect film. Anything you want to say about Kindergarten Cop now, or do we just say go listen to the Ivan Reitman episode and move on?
You can listen to that. I think the main thing, this is maximizing all of Arnold's talents, right? Like, so, because there's a little bit of a thriller and action aspect to it woven into a comedy. And he's completely fish out of water. The fact that, I think I said that in the other episode, that this big hulking physical specimen is just essentially taken down by 4-year-olds. It's great.
Absolutely. And now, we had alluded to this earlier. We're talking about Beauty and the Beast, but number 17, the 17th top grossing film of 1991 is a re-release. It's 101 Dalmatians.
The fourth re-release of this movie, believe it or not.
The fourth. I didn't realize. My goodness. So, when is this, 1961, this original film? I missed the year. But that being said, whatever year it came out in the 60s, it had a $3.6 million budget. 51? Fucking hell.
I think, yeah.
So, well, now we just have to look, don't we? 61. I was right the first time.
All right. Well, then I'll shut up.
So, $3.6 million budget. And then only on this re-release, it made $60 million domestically. Assuming re-releases, $303 million worldwide total. This is printing money for Disney at this point. The movie was 30 years old. This was the 30-year re-release. It's probably been sitting in the Disney vault, not on home video, just waiting for its moment, because that used to be a thing. You couldn't just access it all the time. Printing money.
I think this one, too. Siskel and Ebert both obviously liked this movie. They reviewed it when the re-release came out, and but they said they didn't think it was on the level of Snow White or Pinocchio. And maybe from an animation standpoint, that may be the case. Or I still think this is a more broad appeal to families cartoon movie than those two. So I think this is one of those that just seems to everybody, because everybody loves dogs, or not everybody, but like a lot of people love dogs.
There are monsters out there who don't like dogs. It's fine.
People love cartoons. I just always felt like this is one that was easy to get people to gravitate to. Like, it would not be, kids aren't going to be like, no, I don't want to go see 101 Dalmatians.
Right. The only other thing I would say here is I made myself laugh while you were talking, because I imagined it was, we had said Siskel and Ebert liked it on the re-release, and I was going to joke, what, they didn't like it in 1961? Forgetting how old they were, where they could have maybe reviewed. They were both in their 20s. But in my mind, it was going to be like Siskel and Ebert babies.
Right.
Just like, but
it's it's either like a coo, or like woo, or something. Yeah.
2 shits in a diaper means they like it.
That's right. 2 pacifiers down.
That one's better than shits in a diaper. I'm proud of you. Good work.
We got there.
Now, the next movie, I feel like we've talked about this movie a lot, but we've never talked about the movie ever, I don't think. We have, to death, talked about the Simpsons episode of the same name, spelled differently.
Exactly.
Cape Fear. The movie, not the episode, had a $35 million budget, $60 million domestic gross, $182 million worldwide. While I was typing my notes, I 100% absolutely kept typing it as Cape Fear with an E at the end, because that is the name of the fucking Simpsons episode.
Yes.
I just, it's so focused in. I rewatched this last night. It was one of the few ones I felt like I really needed to rewatch. I couldn't take this movie fucking seriously. I'd forgotten that the music was the same. They just ripped the music from the movie and put it in the Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
That's not original. I lost a ton to me was the fact that they just stole the actual music from the movie. I could not take this shit seriously at all.
I think it's what makes, and we won't rehash. Just what makes that episode so good is that it is, the movie placed in this ridiculous context of The Simpsons, and that's what makes it so good. They just took this slice and just dropped it into Springfield. It's so funny.
The problem too is there were moments when I was really getting into the movie because De Niro is fucking phenomenal.
Oh,
he is acting
terrifying, sinister
around everyone, especially Nick Nolte. Yeah. Like if I could have seen a better actor in that part.
Well, Nick Nolte, it's because they wanted to make the physical size be less, because De Niro's only like 5'9". They had him bulk up, and Nick Nolte had to like lose a lot of weight. Maybe he was hungry. So it's
regarding the derailment of the movie while I was watching it, the part that really got me was De Niro stalking the family, right? Just genuinely so good, so powerful. Still scary, even to this day.
Yeah.
But the parade scene starts, and the music kicks in, and I just go, surely there's no harm in laying in the middle of a public street.
Hannibal crossing the Missouri.
Fuck, like everything. Every time I'm getting into it, there's something that just goes, well, it's the Simpsons episode again.
Not the elephants. It's just...
Who wants to drive through the cactus patch?
Oh, it's so much that's so good.
Oh, God.
Apparently, I liked that De Niro's accent that he chose for this, which I think the way he researched it was he went to a bunch of towns in the South with an excerpt of the script and with a tape recorder, and had people from different parts of Mississippi, Alabama, all over the place read back a paragraph or two to him, and then he listened to all the different tape recordings, and that's how he kind of came up with this creepy ass accent, which it creeped out Scorsese so much that De Niro would leave voice messages on his answering machine as Max Cady a whole bunch. It was just really funny.
Great. That's great. And yeah, just neglected to mention The Simpsons of it all, that this is a Scorsese film.
Yeah.
And just, my goodness, like, it's one of those things I think about later on where, like, you don't imagine in maybe 1991 that is this the follow-up to Goodfellas, by the way? Because it's 91. Goodfellas was 90. It's got to be.
Probably, yeah.
That the follow-up to Goodfellas is going to be a remake of a classic. I'm sure, obviously I wouldn't know. I was 8 and in Michigan. But I feel like the Hollywood was probably like, what the fuck? It's the equivalent of Halle Berry doing Catwoman after winning her Oscar to them, probably. Right. You know, it's that feeling. But then just, oh no, this is going to be amazing. And honoring a legacy of a film and crushing it and doing something new and better. Just my goodness. And it's just, seriously, this is not an original thought. What I'm about to say is not an original thought. What happened to De Niro? He was so scary and so amazing. When did he stop acting, and why was it Analyze This with Billy Crystal? He was never the same after Analyze This, and I stand by it.
Yeah, I mean, part of it was all the Tribeca stuff too, right? Like, he started to get more into that, and like, he owned real estate, started all the film festival stuff, like, I think, right?
I honestly don't know. I just
feel like that was part of why he got out of acting, because he was doing more of that stuff.
No, not out of acting. I'm talking about shitty acting.
Oh, gotcha.
De Niro doesn't do good movies anymore, and he hasn't in a long time. He can be a great actor. I'm saying what happened? Well,
so I think Analyze This may have awakened something for him to think I should maybe shift completely into comedic acting. And then we get Meet the Parents, and then we get, other stuff. Yeah. And then we get worse stuff like Bad Grandpa and all the other things like that. So it just... Was that Bad Grandpa? Was that him?
Yeah, that was Bad Grandpa. Yeah. No, he was,
What
was one of those was Johnny Knoxville, one of the Dirty Grandpa. Which one was dirty and which one was bad? One was bad was Johnny Knoxville, one was dirty was De Niro. I think that's
the fact that we can't tell or remember is making our point that, maybe that wasn't the turn you needed to make. Because, I mean, I really liked to Analyze This, but...
Oh, yeah, I did too, but there's a point where it's like how you don't realize you're in the good times when you're in them. You don't realize De Niro was turning a corner.
I mean, it was a pretty long run, so I mean...
But also Meet the Fockers, I think, is the real turn after. You're absolutely right. Because if you look at his career after Meet the Fockers, holy shit. Yeah. There's a few highlights, obviously, but holy shit. Not good. Anyway... Go watch the Simpsons episode. It's really good. No, I actually have one more story. We both have a thing.
Look at that.
No. Please, after you.
So Gregory Peck and Robert Mitchum, who were in the original, both make cameos in this movie. And apparently, like, even in the 50s, when they were in the movie together, they developed a dislike for each other that carried on for a long, long time, and to this day, but like
no, they're in the afterlife. Fuck you, Mitchum.
They don't like each other to the point where that's why they weren't in scenes together in Cape Fear, like because they don't like each other. It's just, I was like, that's kind of fascinating.
No shit. The thing I had was actually just a personal story of the first time I saw this movie, and there are certain movies that your parents should not let you see or have you be around. And that, frankly, if you see them at a certain age, your parents made a mistake.
Yep.
I love my parents. They did a very good thing. They gave me a very good childhood. However, when I was 8 years old, they rented Cape Fear. I watched it in our living room. And I'm telling you, I did not sleep that night. I have vivid
Max was
memories.
Outside your window.
I have vivid memories. I do not remember a lot from when I was a kid. I move on from things. Maybe it's the ADHD of it all, but I don't form core memories from childhood. I have a core memory of being in my bed, terrified in the dark that someone was going to be in there. And I remember clearly getting myself to sleep by muttering out loud as an 8-year-old, Cape, you can't be scared of a cape. Batman and Robin have capes. Batman and Robin have capes. You can't be scared of capes. I remember this. This was a real thing in my life. Don't let your 8-year-old watch Cape Fear. Do not let your 8-year-old watch Cape Fear.
A public servant announcement from Mike Barcode.
Anyway, any other thoughts before we move on?
No, let's move away from that trauma.
Fantastic. 19 Boyz n the Hood, $6 million budget, $57 million domestic, and I once again cannot find worldwide numbers for this movie. Do you have anything? I could not find a thing.
I didn't see it either. I would say notably too, more impressive, I think it's American box office because it was in about half the theaters of most of these other movies that are in the top 20. So like it caught fire, and for good reason. Great movie.
And I think the important thing to note is how much of a career launcher this was for so many people. John Singleton wrote and directed words. Say your words right, Mike. Wrote and direct. But he was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Director for this film. First African-American, youngest nominee in that category. He was 24 at the time.
Amazing.
Yeah, and listen, this shows... this is going to sound so mean. There's no way this doesn't sound mean. Think about this movie in their acting debuts. And think about the last movies that Cuba Gooding Jr. and Ice Cube made. Ice Cube just came out with the atrocious War of the Worlds where it's all happening on FaceTime. It's fucking... By the way, I haven't seen it. I've seen the pitch meeting for it. That's enough. But what happened there? This shows how good they were, and they made good movies in the 90s. And just what happened? What happened?
I mean, Ice Cube is in his 50s and has made millions upon millions upon millions of dollars.
Okay, let's go back the other way.
His son is in the business. No. I'm just saying, in 1991, he is atop the rap charts. He is a year and a half removed from NWA. It's completely different.
I gotcha. I guess I just feel like when you see someone with that talent and skill, and they would hang on to it, is it just the paycheck while you do War of the Worlds? What's happening here? What would make that happen? Why would you make that career choice?
Maybe
when you see where they came from and what they are capable of.
And he just pops off the screen. To think this is his movie debut is just, he's great at this.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have expected it because I think especially in 1991, you're not expecting, maybe because of music bias, maybe because of casual racism, you're not expecting the actor or the rapper to suddenly come out and be an amazing actor. No one was seeing it, wasn't on the radar.
Yeah, and then also Regina King's movie debut too, and both of them would come back. They play brother and sister in Friday.
Oh, nice.
So they kind of come back to that. So, do you know the the beginnings of this movie, from Singleton's aspect? So I found this in the trivia. He was doing security on Pee-wee's Playhouse and gave the script for Boys in the Hood to Paul Rubens and Lawrence Fishburne, who was on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Who, by the way, is still credited as Larry in this movie. It is that early in his career.
Yes,
not his debut, but still credited as Larry. Please continue.
Yep. And they just to say, hey, I have this script that I'm thinking about like trying to put together. Do you have any notes? Do you have any like thoughts on it? And that interaction and that kind of introduction was eventually what led to Fishburne being cast in Boys in the Hood.
That's awesome. I also feel like
go Pee-wee.
There's such an era from the 70s and 90s where I feel like you could just do that. Hey, I worked as something as a this, and I got to this and this. Oh, I was a this, and I got this opportunity. Again, an outsider, but I feel like there is now an insulation between what you can do and where you are, and getting through that plexiglass ceiling, that thick whatever for anybody now is like, you get my coffee. You stay 6 feet back, please. I appreciate it.
Right, just text me or whatever. Yeah, there's that, like you said, insulation. Insulation's a good word for it.
You don't hear those stories anymore. I feel like, well, I was just working on a set and they needed help and suddenly I got this opportunity. Never going to happen.
Yep.
So, any other thoughts on Boys in the Hood? I know I mainly spent more time talking about their later careers, but great movie. Like such solid performances, worth your time. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, just one of those on the list of like, everybody has their list of like movies you just got to see. Like if you haven't seen this movie, you got to see it just because it's just exceptional filmmaking and just it's to see something. And you put it kind of in the context of nothing had been coming out that was like this. It started a whole bunch of other movies that began like this. And so, but this was the originator, and it's on top of being the type of movie that it is, it's a great movie. So go check it out if you haven't seen it.
Also, there are a couple of movies here where I can't find the worldwide numbers. And this one, I was thinking about it, is there a chance this one just wasn't released worldwide, considering where it came from, what it's about?
Very specific to America, I don't know.
I could see this one just not having a worldwide release. I was thinking about that while I was putting this list together. But we get to number 20. And as I said at the start, I feel like we bookended this list with movies that are not in the cultural conversation, that did not remain in the zeitgeist, that people do not talk about. Number 20, Michael J. Fox in Doc Hollywood. $20 million budget, $54 million domestic. This one I can't find worldwide numbers for either, but I think it's just because it's everything I just said about where it's at. People aren't reporting it. So before we hit a little plot or what this could be, I would like to note that I know for a fact I saw this at a drive-in with my parents. It was a double feature with something I cannot remember. I know it was the second movie. I do remember being excited because it had Marty McFly in it, and I was 8. Yeah. But then it was a romantic comedy for adults, and I could not have been more bored. I remember as an 8-year-old just being... I was so angry at Doc Hollywood for existing.
Yeah.
I should have rewatched it for this. I didn't. But that said, it was well reviewed. Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up. They both liked it. Fun fact, this and Hot Shots were reviewed in the same episode of At the Movies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that I watched that episode on YouTube last night. So the sadder fact on this is the movie where he was diagnosed for the first time with Parkinson's. But all that aside, do you have any personal thoughts on Doc Hollywood, or you just hit a few trivia facts and be like, yeah, this movie exists? What do you got?
Yeah, there's the one big trivia fact that we can get into, but I reminding myself of the plot. I mean, it's fine. It's Michael J. Fox is always kind of charming in just about anything he does, so he boosts some things better than they should be, especially if it's a romantic comedy, but also I don't know why, his romantic comedies always seem to be just boosted a little bit more just because he's always so charming in most of his roles,
And this did well. It made $34 million domestically. He is not in his... I feel like there became a point in the 90s, just pre-Spin City, where he had several flops and was considered washed up. He is not there yet in 1991.
And seem to do this a lot in other movies as well, where so he's going to college in DC, right? And he's trying to drive out to California. So naturally he stops in South Carolina on his way out there. I don't know what path he was taking out to California, but I've seen things like this before where someone's driving from like Ohio and they're like, yeah, I got stuck in Georgia. And like, what path were you taking out west?
That's
like,
Muppets moving right along logic.
Exactly.
Sadly, we just left Rhode Island. What? Don't worry about it. Moving right along. Do.
So,
that's wild. I should have rewatched. I had no idea.
I was just kind of recapping through the plot of it and so going, why did he end up this way? But my other couple trivia notes, but yeah, it's basically just kind of getting through it. The guys who wrote Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the same screenwriters for this.
Shit.
So it's
all right, I missed that. That's great.
I'm guessing my note is your note, so go ahead. My big note.
Parkinson's.
Oh, okay. No, I was gonna say the other note is that basically the plot for the Pixar movie Cars is basically the same plot as this.
See, I haven't seen this in so long. I don't remember that, and I missed that entirely. That's wild. Like to the letter, pretty much.
I mean, basically, he gets in an accident in this small town in South Carolina, and he argues with the judge, and he has to do community service at the hospital. And falls in love with the town. Yeah, it's
how about
so
that?
That's the other thing about that movie that's it sometimes gets tied in with because it's sort of the same plot. Doc Hollywood did it first, technically. So
you tipped me off because I love looking at. Do you ever look at the goofs on IMDb, not the trivia? Because it is the stupidest people feeling the need to like correct things or do things.
Yeah.
I was just looking at, and there's somebody who pointed out a goof as, why would you drive to South Carolina? And somebody has retorted to it in the incorrectly regarded as goof section as, listen, when people want to drive cross country or they want to see America for the first time, they do not often go the most direct route. And I was like, I guess you're right.
He's going out for a job interview. He's not taking us. It's a joyride.
But no, my big thing was the sad fact that this is when he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, that he was prepping filming and he noticed a twitch in like his pinky finger and he couldn't control
apparently
it.
It was like after he and Woody Harrelson went out the night before and he didn't necessarily think a whole bunch of it because he thought it was just like from hard partying or something like that. And but then eventually found out. So
sad. That said, what's sad for me, but how fucking lucky you got. You got so fucking lucky, you fuck, Randy.
Yes.
The 21st box office grossing film
I did get lucky. You're absolutely right.
Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, $30 million budget, $52 million domestic, $97 million worldwide gross. You got so fucking lucky. I would have gone all day.
Oh, no. I would have pulled out the UF 60 seconds card.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Our rules, no. Time. Because our rules are when I go off on side tangents. This would have been a sanctioned topic.
Thank God.
I would have had a sanctioned topic, not a side rant, to talk Star Trek. And I'll get you one of these fucking days. And I'll just
What's going on in TV in 91, Mike?
I'll go hard on HD on you and just go. And my eyes will glaze over. And I'll tell you all
Your
about
eyes will glaze over.
Oh, no. Oh, no. You'll be in. You won't look away. It's so good.
I disagree. So
it's so good.
That's when I'll lose connection.
You fuck. How dare you? Fine, let's talk about television. The top 10 shows for 1991, and then we'll talk about what was technically 10 through 12. We'll get into it. It's a weird thing.
Yep.
Important to note, we are looking at the 1991 to 1992 fall season, not whatever was 90 to 91.
Right.
If you ask why, I don't know. It's just how we've always done this bit. It's when we do this, it's
I think the first one we did, it was the years we were born, and we were both born later in the year. So that's how we did it.
Again, you have such a memory for this show that we do. That's exactly what it was. We were not born in the start of the other seasons. God, you're good at this. You're really good at this podcasting. So
debatable.
This is wild to me that the number one ranked show of 1991 to 1992 was 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
Just what a different era, man. So that was on CBS.
It was always, and CBS always had football, and people just always kept it on after football. I'm convinced sometimes if football games went wrong or went long, they people just left it on, not noticing, and
See,
that's how some of their ratings got.
Oh, I see. Because I was going to say, but you don't see it listed, but those weren't primetime games. It led into the primetime, is what I'm saying.
Right, yeah, the Sunday afternoon games,
you.
yeah,
that makes sense.
3:30. Yep.
That's fair. That's fair. That actually would track a lot. Well done, you. But number 2 is Roseanne. 3 is Murphy Brown. 4, tied, Cheers and Home Improvement. And we'll deal with this again in a second. Every time there is a tie, they skip a number. So you're tied for 4th. 6th is Designing Women. 7th is Full House. I never realized Full House rated that well, ever. In my mind, it was never going to be a top 10 show. I'm very surprised. 8 is Murder, She Wrote. 9 is Major Dad. Then 10th, tied, is Coach and Room for Two, skipping down to 12 Monday Night Football, meaning there is no 11 where we would start our 11th. So we are going to break our formula, in quotes, slightly to talk 10 down, because there are 210 and that's technically 11, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea.
Exactly.
So we'll start with Room for Two. I had no idea what the fuck this show was.
Yeah, me neither.
I'd never heard of it. It got 2 seasons. It featured Linda Lavin, who was on Alice, that show Alice in the 70s and 80s that I'm only aware of through like Nick at Night and TV Land. I had never watched it, and I think I watched it then. And has a pre-Everybody Loves Raymond, Patricia Heaton.
Yep.
This is coming so close to becoming Lost Media, I feel like.
Yeah. I only read the recap of it, and I'll go one step further on Linda Lavin, and it's a full circle kind of thing. The only thing I really knew about Linda Lavin, I think I barely knew she was in Alice, is that in the Cape Fear episode of The Simpsons, they make a joke about Linda Lavin where like, who we've been sending threatening letters to, Linda Lavin.
Oh my God, yes. So I'm so glad you said that. I mean this. I wasn't going to bring it up because I was desperately searching my brain, scouring through 40 years of pop culture where I remembered enough of that quote to know it existed, but I couldn't remember if it was a Simpsons episode or a Critic episode. And I was dying. Thank you.
Not gonna lie, I Googled it to double check while I'm doing my research. Thank you
so much. Oh my God. I could not place it and it was killing me. And I was missing enough to not Google. Oh, you're the best right now. You're the best.
For anyone that wants to check it out, though, it premise basically that Patricia Heaton in New York runs like is a host of a TV show. Her mom comes in from Ohio to like stay with her, and then has differing opinions, I guess, and sometimes comes on the show. I think that's basically the premise.
You say if you want to check it out. Well, I looked into it. There are currently no DVD releases planned by Warner Brothers, who own the rights.
All right. So if you want to check it out, good luck.
The second episode only was included in a commemorative DVD released by Warner Brothers for their 50th anniversary, and with a bunch of other pilots and random shows that were included.
Wow.
I did look the show up on YouTube. I found one episode titled, And Now a Pause for Menopause. And here's the thing. I don't know if we'll get copyright struck on YouTube for this or if I'll have an issue. If I do, you won't hear this and I'll have to edit around it. Yep. But I both loved and hated how they handled their theme song so much that I have it queued up and I have to play it for you.
I'm ready.
So this theme is so weird, but also I thought it was over and it picked back up. They do a cold open. They interrupt the theme for another joke. And then they go back to the open. Oh. And then, so listen to like a minute of this. Feel free to talk through it. Just process it.
So frustrating. It won't bloom and it won't die. Well, it takes a little effort. Have you really been trying? Yes, I've been ignoring it for 3 weeks.
What a joke.
Yeah, you can tell why I got 2 seasons. Top humor. What is this theme? Wait for it. I thought the open was over.
There's a lot you can do.
Yeah.
Feed it, coddle it, play
she
it some music,
the plane away.
Trim it, water it, put it in a bigger pot.
It's not. What do you ever see a show that goes joke, theme? It blew my mind.
I don't.
They gave the top 2 leads on the title their own intro, did a joke, and then everyone else got another intro. All the other credits are happening. Now we're back to the show. And I was sitting here watching the show, and I watched at least another minute or 2 than I ever would have. Like, are they going to go to more? Is there going to be another cutaway?
Desperately, it clings to life.
Anyway, isn't that fucking wild?
That's weird. Yeah. It has a kind of like how 2.5 Men always does their stuff, right? Like, I mean, theirs is at least in between their scenes and stuff, I think.
And they don't go back to it.
Right.
And I'm sure it was just as funny as 2.5 Men. You take that however you want.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say before we move on to the other show that's at number 10. On this video, commented 1 month ago, somebody wrote, "Such a great show. Please more episodes, smiley face." And all I can think is, nobody tell her. Nobody tell her. It ain't happening. Let her live. Just let her live. So the other show at 10 is much more well-known. It got 7 seasons. This is its 4th season, Coach. I loved Coach when I was growing up.
I did too, yeah.
The football coach in...
It was fun.
Was it Wisconsin or Minnesota? It was Minnesota, right?
Minnesota State University, yep.
Yeah. It had Jerry Van Dyke, Patrick Hagerback? Damn it, now I gotta look it up. The voice of Patrick on SpongeBob.
Voice of Patrick, yeah. William, I think, is his first name. So, also played Marshall's dad on How I Met Your Mother. And
yes, he did. And that episode where he died was so sad. And also he played Bill Fagerbakke. There it is. He also is in the Stand miniseries in the 90s where he plays the mentally disabled guy who, I don't want to say has the shine, but he has as close to the shining as you're going to get in the Stand, I feel like.
Yeah.
And he's paired with mute Rob Lowe. I have a weird soft spot for that miniseries. I would watch that right now. I can't help myself. But I liked Coach. It was classic early 90s sitcom stuff. Just a hint of continuing story regarding the family stuff. Just that dash where occasionally they would age or move or have kids. But other than that, it was your standard episodic half-hour comedy. So, any thoughts on Coach?
Yeah, it was my note on this, created by Barry Kemp, who also created Newhart. So,
I didn't realize.
He had that kind of, and you can see that sort of comedic styling in this. It's
small town stuff.
I mean,
too. He loves that.
There is laugh track, but I mean, the jokes are more kind of bewilderment at certain things. I mean, that's playing the Jerry Van Dyke part, or like what they're doing with Dauber, like just kind of silly things. And Craig T. Nelson a little bit befuddled by sometimes the people that are just out of touch or things like that. And really, I mean, this was what Craig T. Nelson was really known for, I would say, until The Incredibles, right? Like, I mean, this is...
He had Poltergeist, then he had this,
Poltergeist,
then he had The Incredibles. Those are like 3 major milestones of all different varying genres. It's great.
Yeah, pretty good. But no, just a very solid, fun, kind of just family sitcom.
So I like to, obviously, when we're doing this research, we dive into wikis, we look at trivia, we do stuff. And I got into a little bit of a rabbit hole on this one. And I wanted to do this one second because the next show on our list, 12, is Monday Night Football. Okay? But I got to dial back for a second. This was Coach's 4th season, and it was a giant year for the show. This is the first year that the show, I think, could crack the top 20. The next year, it would become a top 10 show, and it would be a top 10 show the year after that, before plummeting to number 53 for season 7. Season 7, ABC aired original episodes of Coach on Monday night before Monday Night Football as part of a football-themed night. This was successful on the East Coast, where Monday Night Football games aired from, prime time, 9 to 12:30,
Nobody
whatever,
cared on
local
the West
time.
Coast.
On the West Coast, they aired from 6 to 9:30 with possible overtime, leaving some Monday network programming with no time slots to even show Coach. So during this interval, the show was often aired at unusual hours on one entire side of the country. So, for instance, Seattle ABC affiliate KOMO aired new episodes of Coach on Saturday afternoons. Coincidentally, ABC also aired college football games against this most of the time.
Oh, good Lord.
Some fans cited this time slot as the issues with the ratings, and I say, well, fucking obviously. Especially because Coach was moved to Wednesday nights before the end of the season, and it was moved back to Tuesday nights for the following season, where it went back to the top 20 at number 14.
Oh, okay.
So, like, they fucked Coach in the ratings a couple years from now. This year, great. But I just got into this rabbit hole because we're always fascinated, I feel like, now we'll move to number 12 unless you have anything, with where does Monday Night Football sit in the top 20 shows? And there's something about the 80s and 90s where it's almost never a top 10 show. It's a top 20 show. And that would never happen today. It is wild.
The NFL's popularity has just stratosphere in the last 15 years. And I don't know if it's just accessibility. I think part of it is the gambling aspect is not shady anymore. It is legal in a lot of places. The fantasy aspect of it, like there is so many different things that make just football such a big watchable thing across the board. Like, and so I think that's why it was enough that it would still garner eyes and attention. Also, I mean, candidly, the advancement of technologies, it looks amazing. You can sit on your couch and watch a great football game. And I mean, it was just a little more novel, I think, than it used to be.
You look at
now
that
it looks
old
just
footage,
incredible.
and it's like the Zapruder film, trying to watch some of those fucking games. It's wild. But listen, I'm always fascinated by it because I like to see the evolution of these trends and the way TVs and fandom and everything works. Obviously, I'm not, nor will I probably ever be the target audience for Monday Night Football. Sure. I work in sports often. I do not want to watch that, but I love all of you who do. Go you guys. But it's wild to see when it wasn't the needle mover like it is now.
I have one sports trivia fact, and then I'll go away.
But no,
on this.
Well, we have more to talk about, so don't go away.
So why not go away? So, but from in this season of Monday Night Football on Monday, October 14th, Monday, the Pittsburgh Steelers lost at home on a Monday night game, and they have not lost at home on Monday night since then. 22 straight.
What was the date?
October 14th.
Okay.
So since then, October 14th, 1991, since October 14th, 1991, the Pittsburgh Steelers have not, if they've been playing at home on Monday night, they have not lost the game, which is pretty crazy. 22 straight.
So number 13, though, and we've talked about this show a bit in the past, Unsolved Mysteries. Mm-hmm. We built, I believe it was a 1993 schedule based on, it was May 3rd, 1993. I believe it was my 10th the day before my 10th birthday was the gimmick for that one, when we did a what was on and what would you build for your perfect schedule for what you would watch. I believe you chose this as your 8 o'clock show. You would do this.
Given
and
the other
X-Files.
options, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what the other options were. I believe you did Unsolved Mysteries and then the X-Files. So it was a real spooky night for you on whatever we were doing. Great theme song, always classic. Anything else you want to say about Unsolved Mysteries? Or we can say, hey, go watch that episode and you can figure it out.
Again, I hope I'm not rehashing, but it's just Robert Stack I always then equate to because the voice of the the federal agent in Beavis and Butthead to America. But and then several actors and actresses who appeared on the show like before they broke into anything, just to give you a couple. Matthew McConaughey, Daniel Day Kim from Lost, Taron Killam from SNL, Cheryl Hines, who from Curb Your Enthusiasm or other things, but we'll stick with Curb Your Enthusiasm.
And January 6th? No, was she not there? Am I insinuating? My bad. Is that how we were going for?
But and there's a couple other ones
Cheryl
too
Hines
that
for
just
being
are some
insane.
other things. Yes, that's it.
You brought her up, not me.
I didn't add to it. Anyway, but that's what I got. Yeah, we can move on to 14.
Okay, great. Sorry, I'm a dick. Don't sue me. Number 14 is the CBS Sunday Night Movie. Now, I think we've talked about Sunday Night Movie in the past, and what we didn't do was our fucking homework. We have talked about how this was like, oh, people don't play movies anymore. You don't replay this. You don't replay that. And maybe in another year, it was the replay of a famous movie.
Yeah.
The CBS Sunday Night Movie was all new made-for-TV movies.
Yep.
I have got for you a selection of titles that aired in 1991. Some real highlights. Blood River, starring Ricky Schroeder, Adrienne Barbeau, and Wilford Brimley. It's a Western.
Oh,
and it was written by John Carpenter. Yes, that John Carpenter.
Huh.
He wrote it in 1971 for John Wayne. It sat in a drawer for 20 years.
How old was Ricky Schroeder then?
Well, it wasn't written for Ricky Schroeder.
No. But I mean...
In 91?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's look up. I got the internet. Hang on.
Because NYPD Blue is a while away, right? Like,
yeah. And it was post Silver Spoons.
Silver Spoons isn't
He was
that
21.
long. Oh, okay.
So there you go. But they wrote this for John Wayne, and John Carpenter actually said that they had gone to John Wayne's people, and he was waiting to hear back. He never heard back. They said, we'll get back to you soon, and they basically ghosted him. And then it just sat in a drawer for 20 years. Somebody else had the rights to it. And he was like, I wish they'd have asked me to direct. They probably never would have. And he's like, I would have directed it. So I was like, oh, wow, that's wild. So Mrs. Lambert remembers love. Longtime singles Lillian Lambert and Clifford Peppermint enjoy a romance late in their lives, starring Ellen Burstyn and Walter Matthau, directed by Charles Matthau, his son.
Oh, okay.
Here's what I want to get into on this, not the movie. I looked up, I was like, well, Charles Matthau clearly has to be his son. And yeah, I saw it. If you go to his IMDb bio, go check it out. He has very clearly written his own IMDb bio. It is
nice.
Glaringly obvious he has taken a lot of time, effort, and care to write his own biography in this.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. He's done a lot of good things that just happen to feature his father. So, Absolute Strangers is a 1991 made-for-television CBS docudrama featuring Happy Day star Henry Winkler, returning to his first TV role in 8 years. It was a very serious drama about abortion. I can't make any more jokes, but fascinating that was Henry Winkler's big return. And the director, Gilbert Cates, was nominated for an Emmy. Have you ever heard of Gilbert Cates?
Not offhand, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me either. But fun fact, he actually produced the Academy Awards 14 times between 1990 and 2008. Okay. And he is credited with recruiting Billy Crystal, Whoopi Goldberg, David Letterman, Steve Martin, Chris Rock, and Jon Stewart to serve as the hosts.
Good. An eye for talent there.
Directs on the side, I guess, because holy shit.
Like you do.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Sunday night movies? Have you watched these?
No, I mean, you did more in-depth looks into it. I looked at the titles and didn't do much by that because nothing stood out. So I got obsessed. Much more into it. Yeah.
I got obsessed with some of these weird ones. I clicked on a couple and looked up a couple and I was like, oh my God, what is this? But, I have a taste for bullshit and schlock. So what can I say? You have higher standards.
There you go.
Number 15 is Evening Shade. This is that Burt Reynolds sitcom where I believe he was a small-town football coach. Is he a football coach?
He was a retired football player coming back to coach, I think, his high school or something like that. Yep.
I vaguely remember watching it as a kid. This season is its second season, and it is the highest the show would ever place in its 4 seasons.
Yep.
And I watched some clips last night, and man, I still just feel like, even at this, the height of what the show would be, Burt Reynolds is phoning this in. This is the type of performance Norm's impression comes from. The way Norm acts as Burt Reynolds on the SNL Jeopardy sketches, if you're like, well, I've seen him in movies, I don't feel like I get that vibe, watch Evening Shade, and there it fucking is.
Yeah, this is a lot of... Although, I guess, Michael Jeter won an Emmy on this show, so...
Yeah, and I liked Hal Holbrook in this a lot. Like, I watched some clips of him, it's like, God, it's like Hal Holbrook. This is great.
Do you know the story behind his character? So, he had a separate character in Designing Women that was on at the same time. Designing Women and Evening Shade, done by the same production company. They killed off Hal Holbrook's character on Designing Women so they could bring him in Evening Shade.
They killed him off.
Yeah.
Good God. They couldn't just write, like, maybe he wants to come back for a cameo later. Also, Designing Women lasted a lot longer than Evening Shade.
I know, right?
He got ropered. You remember the story on the Ropers with Three's Company?
Yeah, exactly.
That they spun him off, and then he had a deal because he wanted to come back, but they were like, nah, you missed the cutoff. You can't come back to Three's Company.
It was a bit of a lesser character in Designing Women, so I think that was the reason. But they had the idea that Hal Holbrook would be more involved in. Also, in this show, Mary Lou Henner's returned to like a starring role since Taxi. So.
Oh, okay, nice, good stuff. I was also I got into a weird deep dive on, for a lot of these, much like you saw with Room for Two, I like to go watch the credits, the theme song, and I had a memory of what the theme song was, and I played it, and that wasn't it. It was this really somber song. Then I went to the second season, and it was a little different, but that's not it. I got to the third season, and there it was. It was not till the third season, and they had a really kind of small-town folksy song sung by Dr. John, which then, partway through that season, got a fourth version where the guy who wrote it re-recorded it and sung it himself, by request of Burt Reynolds, who didn't like the Dr. John version, who had he'd apparently originally requested, he hated the first 2 theme songs and wanted the new theme song.
Huh. Interesting.
And then in the 4th season, the show was canceled. So,
on we go.
My goodness. Any other thoughts on Evening Shade before we move on?
No, just it's I again tuned into it. I would remember being aware of it, but did not watch it routinely really at all.
Fair. Northern Exposure at number 16. I was too young to want to watch Northern Exposure, to care about Northern Exposure. I know my parents liked Northern Exposure, especially my mom really liked Northern Exposure.
It was
I think
on a lot in my house for the same reason.
Was that Rob Morrow, a TV heartthrob in 1991? The doctor that moved to the small town? Am I crazy in thinking that he had a little cachet?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And sort of Janine Turner's sort of breakout role before they put her in Cliffhanger, and then she got some other stuff.
So, fascinating thing, I didn't realize, especially for 1991, how odd this was. This was technically its third season, but also its first full season. It only got 8 episodes in season 1 and 7 episodes in season 2. And that is not how TV worked in the early 90s. You got a full 23 episodes, and this is the first time that happened. And shockingly, it got a 2-year pickup when it got picked up. This show's journey is so fucking weird.
I think too, this has some, I'm making a few assumptions here, but this is created by the same 2 guys that did St. Elsewhere, which I don't know if you know the stories about St. Elsewhere that
we've talked about St. Elsewhere. Remember I did the whole fucking, autistic kid TV speech, like the famous theory?
Yeah. So, and St. Elsewhere famously was, not rated very well, but a critical darling. And for whatever reason, and again, this is because I took a critical media class in college, and our professor was obsessed with St. Elsewhere. So we did like a whole.
And he never talked about the autistic kid TV theory?
He did, but it was more based on like St. Elsewhere's why it was successful and kind of what it meant for media going forward.
To me, the whole legacy of this show is that TV spiraled out from it, but I'll move on.
So, but the idea was that St. Elsewhere drew all these expensive brand sponsors, like Mercedes would run commercials during St. Elsewhere and all these other things like that. And so it became sort of a profitable model, even though it wasn't necessarily a rating success. And that became kind of the thing that St. Elsewhere was known for, on top of being kind of like heady, layered storytelling. They would reference things that you would have to, Easter eggs were kind of like thrown out. And I think throughout Hollywood that had sort of been there. So maybe they just had some goodwill from that for this kind of show. And that's it's an assumption, but that's my guess.
Talking a little bit about that, and who knows, we could always revisit this. I got into another dive after I saw how weird that all went down.
Yep.
So the next season, season 4, stayed in the top 20, but it moved up to 11. Season 5, stayed in the top 20. It was at 14. Season 6, lead actor Rob Morrow, the whole point of the show, had a contract dispute and left mid-season. And the show didn't crack the top 20, and then it got canceled.
Yep. When did it win it won the Emmy, right?
I think so. I didn't look into if and when it did. Okay. Probably. It was one of those shows. Also, do you know how they wrote out the doctor in season 6, the main character?
I don't remember, so enlighten me.
There was a line of, he, quote, went native, and he went to live off the land and spend time in wilderness.
I remember that now, yes.
Man, they just hand-waved that shit away. Suddenly, there was a new doctor from out of town that lived there. Wild.
Riding the moose that comes in during the opening credits, yeah. I don't know if that's true.
No, it's true.
I don't know, do you have other...
No, I was about to move on. What do you got?
I have 2 quick notes. So another executive producer on this show is a pre-Sopranos, David Chase, which is kind of interesting.
Oh, no shit. Wow.
Very involved in that. And then...
that's why there are so many moose in Sopranos.
Yeah, clearly.
Number 17 is A Different World, and I don't remember a lot about this show. I don't think my parents watched it, so I didn't watch it. Probably because I was a fucking Michigan white kid and my parents didn't watch A Different World. And by the time this came around, the next show, spoiler alert, is the last season of The Cosby Show. My parents were watching Fox. It was a different Married with Children, Simpsons, that type of thing. But what I do remember is that it had a fucking fantastic theme song sung by Aretha Franklin by request of the producer, and it gave us Sinbad. So, go team. Love early 90s Sinbad. Good shit.
But in this season specifically, Lisa Bonet had moved away from the show. I think.
Is this the second or third? This is later on.
Yeah, this is I think the 5th season of this show, fourth or fifth.
Yeah, she was only on the first season. They retold the whole thing after she left.
They basically started to focus more on Jasmine Guy's character, Whitley, and then Dwayne Wade, Team Hardison. So like they
got the glasses, right? He was really good. I liked him a lot.
Flipped up the glasses.
Yeah, he was cool as
hell. It was usually that focused around them and then some other people. Jada Pinkett Smith actually came in as a recurring character this season, so it was the first time she was on there. And then but on and on we go. But the only other note I had about this show, I watched it from time to time, but I think I was doing the same thing because wasn't this the first season that The Simpsons moved to Thursdays?
Yeah.
And so I was definitely watching that ahead of what we're going to talk about, Cosby Show, and whatever may have been on Fox after that, I probably stayed and watched, or it may have flipped over. But just to look back at all the ratings of the last couple seasons, because I got curious about the fact that, and I'm getting ahead of myself here, that A Different World outrated The Cosby Show this year, and that actually happened in other years as well.
Oh,
wow. They'd be like 4 and 5, so they were both very, very successful. But in its first season of A Different World, which I think was, I gotta go flip back and see which one, but the top 3 rated shows were Cosby Show, Different World, and Cheers. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then Night Court was 7. So that's the first season that A Different World comes in. So all 4 Thursday night shows are in the top 7 that season.
We're going with that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good
How
one.
crazy is that? Like, so for that 2 hour
really
block,
good.
I know we've done that, Comedy Night Done Right and all that stuff, must see TV. Or
one of these days
which wasn't that, but like
I was going to say one of these days we should maybe dial a year or 2 back from when it was must see TV and see what we got.
But it's just wild to think this 4 of the 7 top rated shows of the year are in that Thursday night block. So that's just that's a brief aside, but yes.
It's so weird thinking about Dwayne Wayne, which also would keep trying to not say Dwayne Wade. That is really difficult. That's shockingly difficult.
Which wasn't a thing when that show was on. So
I think about my mental picture of the 90s, or at least the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about what would you show someone of like, what was considered cool in the 90s that might look slightly off now, but then they were cool. And if you look at like the Different World wiki of Dwayne in his red and white striped sweater with his button down and his flip up glasses.
Yeah.
I'd be like, honest to God, I would say this guy looked fucking awesome in 1991. Like everyone would be like, he was a cool motherfucker. Now this whole thing. And it's I'm just looking at it, it's like, God, that's dripping 1990s is what that is.
It's a snapshot of the time for sure.
Exactly. And it's just fascinating to look at that and be like, I'm having trouble not giggling at the dress, but he was a cool motherfucker then.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've already kind of touched on number 18, The Cosby Show. And all I could ever say is, well, I'd say 2 things. One, we recently lost Malcolm Jamal Warner. That bums me out.
Yeah.
I don't know what his career could have, would have, should have been after The Cosby Show, but anytime he showed up in something, he was good. I enjoyed him. He was great in Community. I like to see him around in other things. I think some of the shows he had done maybe didn't get a fair shake and would have been cool if they kept going. He should have had a better post-Cosby Show career. He was better than what his career would appear, if that makes sense.
I think that the Malcolm and Eddie show had a decent following. I think it was
you're right. I think you're
UPN,
right.
I think, but I know that had like kind of a good
4 seasons.
4 seasons, okay, yeah, and was well thought of and enjoyed. It's the people that I knew that watched it were always trying to pitch me on it.
I remember, and that was in 96, so a couple years apart.
Yeah.
But that still means 25 years since that show went off the air, and I felt like he could have and should have had a lot more than he did. But the other thing I would say is, well, this is it. This is the last season. The Simpsons won. They did it. Go team. So
the one note I had about that is it was referenced in the first episode of the season of The Cosby Show. Raven Simone's character, Olivia, comes into Cliff's bedroom with a Bart Simpson mask on.
They probably thought they were being so fucking clever. They thought they were being so funny.
Said they were foreshadowing.
Yeah. But number 19, you were right. just creeping in. We haven't talked about this man or this show in so long, but it's Wings on the NBC television network, starring Tim Daly, Steven Weber, a bunch of other people. What's Lowell's name?
Thomas Hayden Church.
A bunch of people. It's always a fun cast.
Tony Shalhoub,
Tony Shalhoub. I don't have a lot to say about Wings that I haven't already said. It's a fun ensemble comedy that also exists in the same universe as Cheers. Kelsey Grammer got its first Emmy as Frasier from Wings, not Cheers. It's little things like that.
In this season, actually.
Oh, is it this season? I didn't even look at that. Because I just thought, we've talked about Wings enough, and I moved on.
Yep.
So I have no notes for Wings because we've done this.
That was the only thing I had was that, I wrote the same thing. It exists in the Cheers universe, and they've referenced going to, in Cheers, Frasier references that he and Lilith are going to go to Nantucket. And then, which I think was in the same season. So that season of Cheers, they reference are going to Nantucket, and then the crossover episode happens in Wings when him and Lilith show up at the airport.
I'd say it would have been smart if they had done that like the episode that aired the same night, but who knows if they did. I'm not sure.
Right.
I am now doing something we have not done in perhaps a year and a half. I'm going to Steven Weber's IMDb and saying, what's he doing these days? Because I don't feel like I've heard of anything, but let's find out together.
How long ago was Studio 60?
Was he the Lorne Michaels of... No, not the Lorne Michaels. He was the executive.
He's like the executive, yeah.
Yeah, the bad guy who, after they forced out Judd Hirsch, who was Lorne. So that was what, like 2000?
Yeah, that's a while ago.
Or some shit? Like, that was a long... It was the same year 30 Rock premiered, so it was 2008. 2006.
Wow, shit. Okay. That's 20 years ago. Great.
Yep. Yeah, we'll all be dead soon.
I feel like I've seen him in other stuff, though.
Jesus Christ. Well, have you seen him in Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, or Chicago PD, where he plays Dr. Dean Archer? He's done 84 episodes of Chicago Med since 2021, and he's guest starred in Chicago Fire and Chicago PD. He's really doing a lot. Jesus, I had no idea. I'm sure we talked about that last time, but I completely forgot.
Yeah, that's like Mark Harmon, right? Like you just get into something and then you're there forever, and before
I'm sure
you've done hundreds. Oh yeah, exactly.
He's making a very comfortable living.
Yes.
So no more jokes about Steven Weber because he could buy and sell you 10 times over. So.
Not to mention, I mean, eventually that probably goes into syndication because it'll have enough and then get replayed somewhere, and then he's picking up royalty checks till the end of times.
Those TBS TNT reruns, those are going to make him bank. Like that mid-afternoon block when the show's just on, Law & Order or Old ER style. And then number 20 is America's Funniest Home Videos, which I never expected that to actually ever be a top 20 show. I know it was well-received and like popular, but I just always thought it was one of those things that was on from time to time for people. You watched it if you had nothing else. I always enjoyed it, but, you know.
I mean, that was leaning into the TGIF mode, too, of ABC to just be like, let's get families to watch. And so I think because of the goofiness, the kids want to watch it, right? So that pulls in ratings that way because they know when it's on. That was on Sundays, right? I think.
Yeah. Sunday nights. Which also maybe because there was something else Sunday. In my mind, Sunday was for The Simpsons, but this time it was Thursday. So maybe memories get jumbled. I've also was thinking of the theme song lyrics, and this is actually why I brought these up, because a few months ago, we joked about how you could do like a dramatic reading to some TGIF songs. I did Step by Step, and I made a video out of it that did pretty well. And I was staring at the America's Funniest Home Videos themes, and I thought, like, in today's world, how scary are these
divisive
lyrics?
Speech,
If I stared dead-eyed into the camera, and I might still do a real video of this, but just to you or the people here, I'm just going to take this very deathly seriously, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We got last coast to coast to make you smile, a real-life look at each of you. To capture all that style, you're the red, white, and blue. The funny things you do, America. America, this is you. Stories from your friends next door they never told. You might be a star tonight. Let that camera roll. You're the red, white, and blue. Oh, the funny things you do, America. America, this is you.
Yeah, I think it needs like the
give me the twist. What can I do?
No, you need like the political speech template. This is like somebody speaking at a convention, right? Like just the pauses in it. America, this is you.
You're absolutely right. And now I'm trying to think of how can I, there's no way I could make this without inflaming somebody.
Yeah.
There's no way you do this without upsetting somebody. But my thought, if you were to caption this, and it's, I'm reciting it, the step-by-step one I did as a fiery preacher. It's a fiery sermon, but it's actually the lyrics of step-by-step. So would this be what, like a partisan political speech, but it's actually the lyrics to America's Funniest Home Videos?
Right.
That's it. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Okay, well, now we're doing that later. So thank you, Randall. This is really just me using it as a soapbox.
There you go. You're welcome.
Appreciate. Listen, creativity doesn't happen in a void. I appreciate this.
It doesn't.
So thank you very much. But gosh, that's number 20. Do you have anything you want to say about America's Funniest Home Videos?
I have two. I watched it when I was a kid and enjoyed it. And my dad had a big ass camcorder that he would use to tape everything. And we were convinced we had like 3 or 4 things that we were like going to send in and win the $10,000, and we just never did it. But
was it somebody getting hit in the football with a crotch? Give that man the $10,000. Homer, the movies, football with a crotch. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yes. No, there was one where I think you said football in the crotch.
Yeah, that was man getting hit by football.
No, you're right. Okay. In my head, I heard it the other way around. But that's my own flipping words.
You know what? Let's just start over. I might all leave this in, but let's just start over. Hey, Randy, you got any thoughts on America's Funniest Home Videos?
My father had a very large camcorder that he filmed everything with around the time that this was coming out. We were convinced that we had tons of videos we were going to send in, and we just never did. The one that I remember, the neighbors across the street had a driveway that kind of sloped down, and then on our house it went further down a different slope. And so when and this is clearly incredibly safe, when it snowed and iced over, we went down it on sleds or discs or whatever, and I like wiped out in a bunch of trees. Mercifully didn't get hurt or anything like that. But
wait, do you still have that video?
It might be my dad's
I'd love
house.
To see that.
But
I'd love to see that.
It ends with my dad going, "You all right?" Like that's the last thing you hear him say. Because you just see me go upended. But anyway, so we never sent that in, but that was going to be our moneymaker. But this 2 notes I have.
Send it in to me. I need to see this.
2 notes from America's Funniest Home Videos that I found. This is based on the Japanese variety program Fun TV with Kato-chan and Ken-chan. So, or Ken, I guess Kato-chan and Ken-chan. And there was actually a board game. You would play along with the videotape and work your way around a board playing. There's 250 clips of just like a goofy shit on the tape.
Like one of those VCR games you're just saying back in the day.
Exactly. And you had to remember things from the clips to advance. So it's kind of like a memory, I guess, game, or you get to a certain point where you've already watched a clip a while ago. And then you had to remember. So here's one. I went on a couple things. I found some board game review sites, and here is one review that I would like to read because I thought it was funny. My family used to own this when I was a kid. Probably good for a play or so if you like the show. Virtually no replayability since the scenes aren't very funny the first time you watch them, and replaying it would require watching them all over again. There you go.
That sounds miserable. Also, I've actually always thought about that with those old VCR games. I only played one like one time. My buddy Max, Max, we've never played it. He bought it at a thrift store because I don't think we know how we could play it at this point. Yeah. He has a Star Trek The Next Generation VCR board game. And was like, I love it. How? Did you do it? Let's try it. But I don't know.
Once, but yeah.
But then also you would know it all. It's not like it's going to generate new shit for you.
Right.
What a great time that was. Who wants this? I'm done. I don't know.
That's a great idea and concept, but can't play it again. It's done once it's done.
You know it. But speaking of being done, what a great segue.
Yeah.
We're done. We're done with this list. We're done with everything. Do you have any other final thoughts on what was not quite the best of 1991?
Interesting, just because I did research on all this stuff, but I was surprised at how much of it very, very fresh in my head. Like I had distinct memories or notes about almost everything. Maybe not Room for Two, but when we've done these in the past, I had to really look into 4 or 5 of them because I didn't know anything about it. I hadn't seen anything. There is probably pretty much everything on this. 90% of it I had seen or have vivid memories of. I thought that was interesting. Maybe just the time frame of where I was when I was watching.
It's one of those things where some of the ones that we've talked about where we were born or it was a special moment, but we were young. It's all media that we came to later that we love. Or it's like, I love Ghostbusters, but I was a year old when it came out. Like, I don't remember it when it came, we developed it. This was us with consciousness, finally. Living a life, experiencing actual day-to-day, weekly existence of media.
That's probably what it is for sure. So, because a lot of that, like you said, was early 80s, which we
had to come
around
to
or
later.
weren't available. Yeah, exactly.
But normal social media plugs. I'm Mike Barcode, MikeBarcode. I mean, TikTok, Instagram. I finally remembered to post a new clip on the way to these guys' friends' Instagram page. Now frankly, I wanted to keep a separation. I'm going to still try to post some, but now that my regular page is doing all sorts of weird shit with sketches, I was like, okay, I need to dial in on a place to actually put podcast clips. So I'm going to make sure to actually update the podcast page. So follow, find the page, et cetera, et cetera. You can still find it all hodgepodge together on my TikTok, though. We do have one really nice review that came through our Fantastic Four Happy Gilmore 2 episode last week. It's from Jaden Butinga, 1851 on YouTube. It says, I watch this podcast at work and really vibe it. I think people get quite idealistic about Snyder. His fans love the films and others hate them. The truth is in the middle for me. So, fair enough. And also, thank you for the kind words. We're glad that we're distracting you at work. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Love the engagement.
Yeah. Oh, you made that sound so cold. Love the engagement. What is he, a number to you? Or they? I'm not sure. That was a joke, Randy.
Is engaging not a word?
No, it is. I was being a dick, and it made it sound robotic.
Great.
All right. Listen, I hope you've enjoyed the show, but you've broken us up, and this is the last one. This argument over your comment has derailed everything.
No more waiting.
Where do these guys' friends? No, the answer is here. By the way, if we ever do a final episode, if we ever, because it will never end, but if we ever, we're going to have to come up with the ending to this. Will we be friends?
That's many, many moons away, hopefully.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, until I get hit by a truck. So, I don't know. I've been riding my bike a lot lately. It's been on my mind. People are shitty drivers. So,
Pax.
Yeah. But with that, as always, we'll wrap this up and I will give Randy the final word.
Thanks for listening. Goodbye, everybody.